basically. So they finally decided a couple years ago they're going to scrap the project. It's not going to get built, at least not in that location. Well, in between all the changing of hands, they managed to get a little bit of construction done when they thought it was actually going to go forward. So they managed to dig out the foundation for the building. There's a giant gaping hole in the ground over there. And since it's not going to get built, I don't know what they're going to do. I keep saying that, you know, if nothing else, we should start sacrificing goats into it so the Cubs can break the curse and win the World Series. Yeah. Those of you know your baseball folklore are laughing. The rest of you look kind of horrified. Crazy lady hates goats. I don't hate goats. They're delicious. So for those of you uninitiated into the plight of the Cubs fan, here's the curse of the Billy Goat real quick. Bill Cianis, the original owner of the original Billy Goat Tavern, actually had a pet goat. He would buy it a ticket and take it to Cubs games. Apparently the goat was a good date. During the 1945 World Series, he walks up with the goat, and the guy at the ticket booth is like, Bill, sorry, man, we're full up, and plus the goat needs a bath. He stinks. Get him out of here. No more goat. Being the good Greek that he was, he put a curse on the Chicago Cubs. They've not won a World Series since 1908, nor have they been back to one since 1945. And that, my friends, is the curse of the Billy Goat and why my poor heart breaks just a little bit more every single baseball season. But they're doing pretty good this year. Hopes are high. So here on the right on the riverbank, we have a gorgeous fountain that is called Centennial Fountain because it was built in 1989 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the founding of the Chicago Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. That's a lot of fancy words put together to mean the people that reverse the flow of the Chicago River. Some of you might know this already, but the river flows backwards. It used to flow east into Lake Michigan. Now it flows west away from the lake. We had to go through all that trouble because in Chicago's early history, we had no sewers. We thought of this river as nothing more than a garbage dump. Human waste, industrial waste, animal carcasses, anything we didn't want, we dumped it in, and it carried out into Lake Michigan. Huge problem. Lake Michigan was, and still is, our source of drinking water. Thousands of people were dying from typhoid and cholera, so a group of guys got together and decided the best way to fix that be to divert the flow of the river away from the lake. They dug a 28-mile-long canal on the South Branch called the Chicago Sanitary and Shipping Canal by excavating all of that dirt, which, by the way, they excavated more dirt digging the Sanitary and Shipping Canal than they did the Panama Canal, if that gives you an idea of the scope of all this. So by digging up all that dirt, they lowered the riverbed. Water wants to run on gravity, so they essentially sucked the river backwards, and now we send everything to St. Louis. Sorry, Cardinals fans. Not really. Immediately after this bridge on the right, set back a little bit, you see a building that looks older than it actually is. Hey, bubble guy. Thanks, buddy. So that is the NBC Tower, Chicago, built in 1989, designed by Adrian Smith of Skidmore, Owings & Merrill. It is meant to look like Rockefeller Center, New York City, NBC's headquarters there. So it is very much in the style of a 1920s Art Deco skyscraper. It has soaring vertical lines, setbacks to accentuate that verticality, and a strong geometric shape. Normally, I tell you to keep looking right in the distance to see the Hancock building, but it's not an option today. Hancock's always the first to go in the fog, and it's always the last to reappear because it's far north of here along Michigan Avenue. It's closer to the lake. So anyway, the important thing to remember about the John Hancock building is that Chicago's fourth tallest because broadcast antenna like on Hancock and Sears, they do not count in the final height of the building. So Hancock's fourth tallest in Chicago at 1,127 feet. Hancock was built in 1969, designed by Bruce Graham of Skidmore, Owings & Merrill. And so downriver there is a building that's constructed very similarly to Hancock, albeit on a much smaller scale. So I'm going to use that little building to kind of describe to you how Hancock was constructed. So that'll be a little bit better than not seeing it at all. And so in the meantime, this building on the right that says Fidelity Investments on the bottom corner, that sits on the site of where Jean-Baptiste Dusable had his fur trading post in the 1770s. Dusable was Chicago's first permanent non-Native American resident. He was French and Haitian,